Welcome to the Real CP Show. I am your host, CP. And today's topic, today is May the 25th, 2026. This Korean guy, Asian, right? On that, because people love to utilize genericalities and saying Asia when it's convenient, right? Even though Asia is a continent, and people dip in, dip back out when it's convenient to say Asian, and dip in, dip back out when it's to say specifically their own their own ethnicity or nationality within Asianness. You see how the game goes, right? But Black Americans are told they're not supposed to have their own uniqueness. See the game of that. So the thing about it is today's topic is this particular Korean guy, unfortunately very violent, unalived various Koreans over business dealings in Carrolton, Texas. For people who may not know, Carrolton, Texas is a suburban area city, about 25 miles north of the Dallas, Texas city. Now, yellow on yellow criminality. Where is that model minority mantra, right? Then his Korean wife criminality is also where something that also was minimized. And when I saw this, I was like, right? Because again, right, this model minority mythological, when you say genericality Asian, whatever that's supposed to mean, because Asia is a continent, right, of dozens of countries. See how the game goes, right? And then when people dip out of that and say, no, well, we of this particular Asian descendancy. Okay, fine, not a problem, right? But when Black Americans say they are their own uniqueness, say Black American, oh, y'all being divisive, just call yourself American. See how the game goes, right? So the thing about it is, in this situation, it was a sad thing because there was also a yellow on yellow criminality that's also minimized. See, black on black crime, black on black crime, black on black crime. But when it's another culture, background, ethnicity, alternative lifestyle category, immigration groups, you get the point. Border breaker league, immigrants doing crime, criminality each other, it's quietness. So let me go ahead and share my screen on this part. I'm utilizing this under fair usage doctrine and what I call a timepiece purpose, because this system knows that there are quite a number of people who have forgetful memories. I'm not talking because of health reasons, right? So again, this is under fair usage doctrine.
Carrolton police say a man who confessed to shooting 5 people, killing 2 of them, told investigators he was angry over business disagreements.
Police first responded to a shooting about 10 a.m., found 4 people shot. 1 person died. A little more than an hour later, a 5th person was found shot and killed inside an apartment. Police arrested a suspect after a short foot chase. Fox 4's Amelia Jones has the latest from police. Amelia.
Heather, Steve, there were 3 separate scenes. 2 of them involved fatal shootings, and the 3rd was where the suspect was finally apprehended. Carrolton police say 3 of the victims are in the hospital tonight and stable. Carrolton police say just before 10 a.m., 4 people were shot outside the K-Town Korean strip mall at Hebron Parkway and 121. 1 man died, and 2 other men and a woman were taken to the hospital. About an hour later, police were notified of a 2nd shooting about 3 miles away at the View Apartments on Old Denton Road. 1 man was found dead inside an apartment. Then just after noon, police found the suspect, 69-year-old Sung Ho Han, and took him into custody after a short foot chase near the H Mart on Old Denton Road in the Koreatown area.
In what area? The Koreatown area. But Black Americans are not supposed to have their own thing. It's almost like a super slap in the face upon a non-smart percentage of Black Americans, with few exceptions, who don't get it through certain numbers of mentalities. You must have your own uniqueness. You understand? Right? I mean, and see, what people don't, and by the way, in that particular area, in Carrolton, it's only about a few thousand Korean descendancy type people. And you're like, before a Korean War, let me say this again, before the Korean War, which was early 1950s, there was no such thing overall as even a piece of minuscule Korean descendancy within the Carrolton area like that. Do you understand? Or in general in Americanness, it wasn't that many. But again, Black Americans are told, don't talk about reparations and how many people get unearned reparations or humanitarian resources management. You know, some little sleight of hand words, terminology. How many numbers of Koreans the ones applies to that have gotten resources when they came over in certain sections of the Korean War? Right? And after that, how many have gotten resources? Freebies. The woman pops out a kid, the kids, bam! Automatic citizenship. Do you understand? But they don't want, many people don't want to talk about that part. The free resources of how many of them is Koreans. And I'm only saying relating Korean, the ones it applies to, because this is a topic today, right? You don't have no H mark like this where Black Americans own something like this kind of situation. And these Black, you don't have Black Americans in some areas like this owning strip malls and stuff like that. But they'll tell you, well, because Black Americans don't want to do it. You're out your freaking mind.
Yeah. And it's so sad that we heard this tragic incident here in Carrolton.
Sung Cho Woo is the president of the Korean Society of Dallas. After he heard the news, he came out to the scene to see it with his own eyes.
As if, oh my goodness, with his own eyes, I can't believe a Korean guy did criminality to another Korean guy. As if there's some monolithicness of uniqueness of Koreans doing criminality. Are you freaking not? Are you freaking crazy? This is the kind of nonsense. And you see how they try to play, some of them try to play the meekness card when it's convenient. Watch the games, people.
He told Fox 4 that he knew some of the victims.
They all worked hard as immigrants, you know, they all come here and they work hard and they go for family.
That is a F and lie. See, that's the kind of nonsense that is irritating. It should be irritating certain numbers within American Blackism. They play this little meekness of immigration card. Well, they just come over, come over innocently. They work hard. How many get tax subsidies? How many get reparations to help them out resources? How many get grants? How many get loans to help them out left and right? But they're going to run that game upon, well, you know what? They just, hardworking. They don't tell you how many hate the guts of Black Americans, the ones applies to. How many sit there and look upon certain numbers of people within certain parts of Panama's culture as their goddesses or gods? Do you understand? But they'll try to run this little meat game upon certain numbers within American Blackism, the ones applies to.
Kill each other.
Carrolton police say Han confessed to shooting all 5 victims because he was angry at the victims due to financial disagreements related to their business dealings. According to public records, Han owns K-Kunbu Sushi, located in the K-Town Strip Mall. Representatives with the greater Korean community in DFW joined police at a news conference on Tuesday. The community shocked to hear this happened.
Conflicts happen no matter which community.
But I don't want to go past that on that. They said something, but it went by some people's mindsets. He knows that it's almost like it's kindergarten level. Of course, there are criminality going on within the Korean community as well. That's like other communities. But something about you must sit there and showcase Black Americans. See, there are many types of people that do criminality in different types of groups. Many of them don't get caught. Right? Because there's indirect criminality too, besides direct criminality. Do you understand? Right? And so you got, however, within Korea, and this one applies to, they don't want this kind of focus to be looked at. Even though it don't take but a kindergarten research, people, to look at numbers of Koreans that have committed criminality, numbers of Chinese people committed criminality, numbers of Vietnamese people committed criminality. I mean, you get the point I'm getting at. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the ones it applies to. You get the point I'm getting at. Well, India from India, criminality. Those are different topics. But I'm just saying, it's this thing where you got people that try to minimize within their own cultural context as criminality, right? How many commit white crimes criminality? Do you understand? But they don't want to talk about that part. The ones it applies to.
You live in, but and we're mourning that this happened. It's unexpected. I think that we all need to realize that it could happen in any community. And at the same time, we could probably work towards trying to resolve things in a better way rather than turning into violence.
Oh, but we're not going to talk that stuff to Black Americans. We just let them unalive each other, even though 9,000% of Black Americans do not sit there and harm each other. But you see the tactic of that, right? So the thing about, hold on for a second. So hold on. So the thing about it is, dang it. So the thing about it is, it's a sad thing. It made those particular people, personnel, and made their soul rest, right? Now, with that being said, wait a minute now. Why are people talking about the Korean people? I mean, and I'm like this. You like what? When people try to play certain tactics on that? I'm not hearing that, right? See, they know that certain numbers within American Blackism overall don't know how to sit there and know that people play games. And they'll play meekness when it's convenient for them, and then they'll sit there and play non-meekness when it's convenient for them. They'll play anti-Black America when it's convenient for them. They'll sit there and play like they're the friends and people of color, minority friends to Black America. See the game, right? On that situation. But it's not all. I'm like this. We're not going to play minimization, right? Not going to play that tactic. Now, the last thing I want to sit there and show is this right here, the indirect, am I related over? Indirect criminality. In this situation, indirect criminality by his criminality Korean wife, the one relating to this topic, right? Because you see a picture of her. Oh, let me stop that. Let me go back. This is his wife on the left side, right? How many have sit there and played this facial expression and people, oh, she's so innocent. And they got you on that, right? They got you. And I'm like this, when people don't see this kind of tactic, right? I'm like this. I guess. So let me go ahead and reshare my screen. This is the last one. It's an article. I'm going to read a little bit of this and close down the show. Finish up the show for today. Did you see right here? Let me make sure my mute is off. Okay. Dang it. Hold on. Dang it. Give me a second. Let me stop that. Give me a second here. Let me. I gotta do something here. Give me a second. Dang it. What just happened? What just happened? I just had that lined up. Hold on. Crap. I'm sorry. Give me a second. I'm about to hold on for a second. Wife. I'm about to use another version. If I don't get this in a second or two, it just sit there and just went off. God dang it. Oh, that's irritating. Why aren't you? Hold on for a second. Why? Okay, I found it. Thanks for your patience on that. So let me just kind of reset this back up here. All right, then. Let me reset this back up. All right, then. Okay. Because to me, this is extremely important on this as well. Why aren't you unalived yet? Ooh. Affidavit reveals his wife. See, I don't like when people use genericalities, right? You see how they trying to utilize this. I guess it's time for that and time not to. But you see, they make sure, demographically, the people make sure to minimize that, instead of his Black Americans, right, in general. Reveals wife, his Korean wife, helped Carrolton restaurant owner that particular Korean guy, the violent one who did his yellow on yellow criminality, quietness, shh, in a fatal shooting spree. Whatever her name is, Sung Hom, 67, is a 67. And some people, no one. She's accused by Harvard enforcement of helping her husband in a series of fatal shootings linked to a financial dispute at K-Town Plaza. They didn't say Asian Plaza. They made sure to differentiate when it's differentiation time, right? K-Town, Korean town. See how that goes, right? But she's such a right. She's such a meek looking woman, right? Korean woman, right? See the tactics on that. New details, Carrolton, Texas. New details from a Carrolton such and such enforcement affidavit reveals how the Korean wife of a restaurant owner, the Korean guy owner, accused of multiple fatal shootings, yellow on yellow criminality, allegedly helped facilitate one of the unalivements. Sung Hong, 67, is accused of assisting her husband, her Korean husband, 69-year-old Sung Ho Han, in a series of shootings on May the 5th, 2026, that left multiple Koreans unalived and others injured, according to an arrest affidavit from the such and such entity. Officers responded by around 9:58 to a shooting at whatever that name is, market in the 4,000 block of or K-Town Market in the 4,000 block of State Highway 121, Carrolton, Texas. The location is part of a business strip center with several Korean-owned business. Make sure there is a distinction, right? But Black Americans are not supposed to have distinctions. When officers arrived, they found four Korean victims with gunshot wounds. Two victims, Koreanist victims, identified as Sung Rae Kim and Young Yu, may their soul rest, were pronounced unalive. The affidavit states other Korean victims, were taken to the hospital as officers searched for the suspect. Investigators say Yu told officers that he and others were meeting that morning when Sung Ho Han, whom he knew as the owner of a nearby restaurant, opened fire. About an hour later, around 11:13 a.m., officers were dispatched to a second shooting at an apartment complex in the 2700 block of Old Denton Road. Their officers found Edward Slight unalive inside his apartment. Enforcement people said. According to the affidavit, surveillance footage shows Sung Ho Han arrived at Slight, however it is, apartment, around 10:06 a.m., entering through an unlocked door and leaving a few minutes later. I want to get you some for half a second. Edward Slight, forgive me for saying that name correctly, may his soul rest as well, regardless. Well, in this situation, because I was on a whole different topic. There are variables and different names in situations like that, right? Some people have numbers of names within the Panamanian culture. Yeah, that's overall within Anglo-ness, and there are some ones that have Anglo-adjacent ones that have slid under Anglo-adjacent because they basically have begged themselves and the immigrationists coming over, especially early 1900s and first parts of 1800s, that they were not part within Angloism mainstream, but they became honorary ones within Anglo-ness up until this date, right? And especially for the ones that have a hatred toward Black Americans, right? And they dip in, dip back out when they want to do the Anglo-adjacent, dip in, dip back out when they want to have their own ethnicity, pseudo Angloism. See how that goes, right? And the ones they want to be truly, they wish they can be Anglonism, but they can't. But I'm talking about the ones it applies to, right? Because there are numbers of Anglos that have lost their lives within trying to help Black Americans out because they know what's wrong. But though they're extremely small, so we're not going to play that tactic. But where I'm getting at, this particular person, the guy's Korean. See, that name, somebody can say, oh, there's some people, ethnicity, background, certain Asianness, the ones applies to, they say, oh, yeah, that's such and such, whatever it is, background. But overall, in general, somebody looks at the name, because that's similar to what some people might say, oh, that sounds like a Germanic name, right? And that would be, overall, possibly correctness on that overall, right? But it's not. It's this situation. In this situation, this guy's a Korean. So this is basically collective. The guy committed Asian on Asian criminality or yellow on yellow criminality toward his own people. And you had heard the people when I played that clip earlier. Oh my goodness, they act like shock, right? Because it's a code within. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, don't you ever do anything toward Koreans, right? Even though it don't take but an infant research to see. Wait a minute, now that's over there. That was some Korean criminality. Oh, that was some Chinese criminality toward each other. Oh, this happened toward within internal Asianness. This happened to that type of Asian personnel. You get the point, right? But something about but you got to showcase black on black crime, right? You know, collective, there is no 9,000% of black Americans harming each other, but they have to act like it is. See the game of that, right? According to the affidavit, surveillance shows Sung Hong Han. Oh, I already read that already. I'm trying to speed this up a little bit to get to the part I want to get to. Enforcement said the affidavit evidence indicates as his wife, the Korean guy's wife, Sung Hong was with her husband during both incidents. Cell phone location data placed the Korean couple at the Korean market during the initial shooting and later traveled together to Shhh apartment. Forgive me if I'm not saying that correctly. Investigators also reviewed video from a dash camera in the couple's vehicle, which captured the pair driving from the market to the apartment complex. That sound like super smart model minoritiness? In the recording, Sung Hong Han can be heard telling his wife to call whatever. Enforcement said phone records show that she placed that call around at 9:58 a.m. I'm going to read that apartment. The footage also shows basically she exited the vehicle, went to the parking garage. The footage also shows she exited the vehicle and pacing in a parking garage near the apartment. Moments later, two boom booms, gunshots can be heard. Additional video from a neighbor's camera shows Sung Hong Han entering and then leaving the apartment, according to the affidavit. I'm gonna start right here. This is what I'm getting here right here. After the shouting, after the yellow on yellow criminality shouting, right? Korean on Korean criminality, right? On this one. The affidavit states the couple left together and later stopped at a nearby McDonald's where they ordered drinks in the drive-thru. Does that sound like some personnel that have humanity in their heart? They sit there and just took the lives of several Koreans, injured, however numbers. That wasn't nothing to them. See, people keep acting like that because you say you are of that ethnicity to that background. We talking about within Americanism right now. In some other places, they be like, well, okay, that's just generic terminology because we were named this by however generic, however personnel, whatever. But criminality exists in many types of backgrounds and cultures and ethnicities, and criminality exists, indirect or direct. Do you understand? A surviving victim, Olivia Kim, told detectives that after she was shot inside the Korean market, she saw Sung Han walk in, the guy's Korean wife. Kim said she asked Han to call, these 3 digits, but Han instead responded, "Why aren't you unalive yet? You should have been the first one unalive before she left the scene," according to the affidavit. Godly. Goodness gracious. That was some stuff. I'm like this. But then you have some people saying, "Oh my goodness," but they can be talking about, because it's not all Korean. Gone with that. But it's not all Korean. Gone with that. But wait, listen. It's not all Korean. Gone with that. I'm not going to do that. But at the same time, we're not going to play that tactic, right? We're not going to do that. I mean, but you're not listening. But you're not listening because, again, People be talking about, certain, uh, uh, they talk about, what's the word for it? Give me a second. They be talking about certain numbers of Asianness and, but I wish they stopped talking like that, because when people talk about make genericalities, and they shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like this again. I'm not listening to that nonsense. Those are little tumultuous, termite, turnisters type of deflection tactics. May their souls rest, and also may more people stop allowing themselves within, especially parts of Black Americanism, stop allowing certain numbers within American Blackism, non-smart percentage, to stop allowing people to play these little generic Asian games and modern minority tactics. Asia is a continent with their own many cultures and backgrounds, ethnicities, providences, islands, etc. And it is a Sanaka tactic and insultingness for people just to say Asia without no context. Do you see the game? They love trying to play toward Black Americans. But may those particular Korean souls rest from being victims of, within their Korean, this Korean guy's hatred, or Korean guy's disillusioned toward his own Koreans situation, right? Oh, and by the way, I almost forgot, because one of the other main things in that, one of the Korean guys, a Shhh, whatever his name is, how the situation was, make a long story short, where it was talking about how some kind of situation where these couple of different Koreans, they were trying to come together to raise up that guy's rent. Do you understand that? And people keep thinking there is some kind of pan-Asian true love. In this situation, they think there was some kind of pan-Korean loves. I don't think so. There is selective pan-Asian unity when it's a benefit. There is a selective pan-Korean unity when it's a benefit. Do you understand? I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP